Here's our microphone. So, all right. We got some game materials here, and we'll use our brains.
Cool.
All right, we're at Pax Unplugged 2024. I'm here with Ray Chou.
It's me.
And Vince Ferriero.
Yep,
Ferriero?
That's correct.
All right, and we're going to game jam. These gents are the co-founders of Mythworks. So, I don't know, we're going to do some slug blasting? Maybe not? I don't know.
No, we'll see.
We'll see. Start the timer and let's game jam.
Okay, cool. All right. Time's
so
up.
What do you want to game jam about? Or
Tanks.
what do you
It's
want to
gotta
start
have
with?
tanks.
You gotta have tanks.
Tanks?
It's
gotta have tanks.
So we were talking about Fight with Spirit yesterday, and Vince was like, hey, you know what this game needs? It needs tanks. So a tank sports game.
Tank sports game.
Yeah.
Okay. So my first thing goes to, we got to represent that on this is tactical, right?
Yeah.
This is positioning, stuff
Yeah.
like that. So, or even better, can it be a truck game?
Sure. Yeah.
Like,
Okay.
are these gonna be like these are gonna be our trucks?
What's new on ever
Oh, sorry. So we're recording.
We're recording a video right now. I'll answer your question in a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, does this work for what you're thinking, or do you want to do something more just like
No,
abstract,
that
like
works.
cards?
That's great. That's great. We might as well use this since we have it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
what kind of tank is this? Like a battle simulator type thing, or is it like a pickup and delivery thing? What are you thinking?
What should we go with the theme of the trucks and then do like a delivery thing? Maybe like a resource management where it's like
Sure.
You know, as you're going on the road, it's like things are wearing down and you have to like
Okay. So it's like a
manage
trucker
that.
game basically. So
Yeah.
we're doing a trucker game. Okay.
But if you wanted tanks, is it like a war, like a
World War.
it's like a
supply.
Vendetta Road situation where you're like,
being like
battling
attacked
on
and
the
stuff.
road.
battling,
Okay, cool.
like armor classes, things like that. Right?
Yeah. Okay.
Cool.
All right. So we got a concept.
How do we
we've got-
score? I guess are we doing like
Yeah.
points or are we victory points, rounds? What are you thinking?
We could use dice as some trackers. Or do we want to go up to? Okay. Or we have like. Is it going to be like more board gamey or more role play? It feels like it's going more board gamey sort of
gamey,
direction. So do we want to do like? Because like a standard sort of like RPG trick is to start with a low die and level up to higher dice as you like do your successes or whatever, or maybe it's deplete. You talked about losing resources, so maybe you start with higher dice and then you whatever you're doing, or you can roll that, but then that 8 now becomes a 6 for the next time.
Okay, yeah, cool.
So you're like kind of decreasing your
Like,
like
hull
reverse.
integrity or something.
yeah. All right. So I like something happening.
So we're rolling. Okay, what happens when things fail or succeed? Like, what are we rolling on? Like, when do we roll the dice?
Right.
So let's see. Truckers are on the road. They have to refuel.
You mentioned hull.
They get tired. They get tired. They may get, if we're doing like the kind of like Mad Max thing, they could be attacked. They could be inspected. I
So
don't know.
is that what it is? Like thematically, we're like truckers, like Mad Max style. With,
Are we
like,
smugglers?
smugglers?
Are we
Yeah,
smugglers?
like-
Are we
yeah,
we
totally.
smuggling things across? Okay.
We got like bio, tired type stuff. We
Right.
got armor, fuel. I think we could do the cargo as a stat. Like if you take damage to your cargo, then your load is not it's not as much. You don't win the thing.
Maybe that's the thing. It's like that's tied to like the victory, right? So the person with the most cargo gets like wins.
Okay.
So that's like you're trying to maintain as much cargo as possible.
And you said a bunch of stuff, so I've got like your physical self, armor, fuel, cargo, and weapons. Because if you're going to attack each other, you gotta have some weapons. But it's tempting to make it 6 stats or cut one and make it 4.
3, 4, fuel, cargo, weapons, 6 stats, armor, fuel, cargo, weapons.
I would say maybe get rid of the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just the truck.
Armor, fuel, cargo. Okay, cool. Yeah.
All right. So we've got some concepts. Do we want to do like a dice split point buy thing, or do we get like do we assign a set of dice and you assign one in each stat? Like we talked about the depreciation, but like if you start with a D12, D8, D6, D4, you assign. Well, maybe you know what I'm saying. Like you assign your
like
your,
you got different stats.
your
for things.
initial stats. You build your truck out, right? Like
Yeah.
I got like I don't have much fuel because I got more cargo capacity. You know, I've assigned my dice in certain places.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. So maybe like a D12. We have D8s. We have D6s. And a D4, I guess. So okay. Or D10. I'm doing D10.
I'm just throwing out the dice. I don't.
All right, cool. So I'll put them in order. So that's 1, 2, 3. We got
10. There's a 12.
we got 4 stats. What do you think? Should we start? What's the highest?
What's the highest?
Yeah, 12 or 10.
12.
12. Okay, so 10 is the next step down, and then we have 8s. And then we have 6s. So those are our 4 types of dice.
1 8. One more 8. All right. We got our sets. So then I'm gonna take a set and I'm gonna assign my things. So we got. I'm gonna do
Okay, so what was the armor?
armor, fuel, cargo, and weapons. I'm gonna go armor, fuel, cargo, and weapons. Alright.
Okay.
Sign them, baby.
Okay.
Those are your.
There you go.
That's
Okay, cool. So we have our little character sheets. What? How do we interact with each other? What do these things do? What are we doing in this game? What?
yeah. I think if we've got weapons and there's some sort of attacks, and like, is it? I mean, I don't know how complex. I've never played like Car Wars or anything like
Sure,
that.
yeah,
like,
me neither.
but like, that's kind of the vibe. Like we've got like positioning, or like maybe you've only got like forward. Your missiles can only go forward, so like you have to position yourself in the same lane as someone else.
Yeah. Well, we
to
can also
attack them.
We can also discuss like the interplay between like these things. So like, for example, okay, if we're giving a big die for cargo, like what does that represent? And like if we're rolling, like is that our health in that case? Is that like kind of like if we deplete our cargo to 0 or something, are we out of game or? You know?
I think that would be armor. It's like if your armor is gone, then your like vehicle is destroyed, I think.
Okay.
And
so
then you
armor
would
is
lose
off.
your cargo, but like,
Cool.
yeah, it's sort of like what I imagine, like sort of like you can always like burn cargo to not take damage on any of the other stats.
Okay.
So, but that's sort of like it's like a flex resource, but it's also sort of the win condition. So
Right.
if we're trying to smuggle the most goods across the wasteland,
Right.
you don't want to just burn it all to like keep your armor pristine.
Yeah. It's like Firefly, you know, and Jane Cobb, and it's like lose the supplies, and then he throws out his partner instead.
So are we like on a track or something, and like that's the geographic kind of it, like we're like like a horse racing. That's like what I'm imagining, and it's like okay, we like go forward or whatever, and then
Just double check that this is actually recording. Yes, good.
So kind of like Mario Kart-ish then. We were talking about like positioning.
okay, yeah. So like you can move ahead, move below.
I guess we didn't do like speed. So if we decided those are our 4, so fuel I guess then becomes like the sort of the speed thing. Like
Right,
how much
yeah.
fuel are you willing to expend to reposition or move ahead or something like that?
And maybe it's like, well, I don't know, like cargo, right? Like you're a trucker, so you try to truck stuff, and like it makes sense. Like the more cargo you have, the higher you score on a checkpoint or
So it's
something.
like a multiplier, you think?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Like
I do like the idea of checkpoints, like sort of like staged play. Like you're like, okay, in the first crossing of the salt playa, like all this happened, but like then maybe that you can maybe bank some points from the, like you said, a multiplier or something like that at that stage. But then like there's more stages.
Right.
You got to go across the broken mountains next. Or whatever. I don't know.
So that's like, okay, so we're saying cargo is like what you score/multiply with. Does it affect like how fast you are? Oh,
Yeah, we could do that. That's cool. Like granularity.
seems very complicated. I don't know. But okay, so and then weapons. I mean, if we can attack, I like the idea of like, okay, you can only attack like forward or back or side or something like that. Or
maybe you can. I don't know if we're positioning and we're in lanes. I mean, maybe this is like a competition show as well. Like the people in the city are watching the supplies being brought in from the outside, and they're like sort of cheering for their own district of the city that's going to get supplied or whatever. I don't know. Then you have like a reason why it's a game, I guess. I don't know. But I don't know. I was also thinking about like the positioning of the die could become important. Like I'm going to move my die to the front here so that I can shoot that way, and then I'm moving it to the back to shoot back to represent that. Again, this is sort of too complicated. I don't know.
It's all good. It's all good. We're just jamming and figuring it out. If we want to do one of the actions, do we roll one of the dice? I think. Yeah, that makes sense if we're doing the step dice and then they deplete or something like that.
Yeah, I think maybe I like that idea that they deplete.
Or they can just be like trackers, right? They just track the resource that you have, and then like what we do is outside of the dice, and it's just tracking.
Just a tracker.
Yeah. But then the question is, how are we interacting like outside of that? Maybe. I don't know. You guys got anything? Maybe.
It is for context. The last morning, we've done days of this con already. We're a little slow on the jump. I think we might just try. Like I don't know what the if we're starting. I don't know. We can kind of position ourselves relative to each other, like you were saying, kind of on the tracks, and then maybe it's like we'll try something, right? Like, maybe like if you're like, I think my person is relatively like, I'm not going to spend fuel to like win initiative. So like, do either of you want to like spend fuel to win?
Yeah, I'll
initiative?
do it. I'll spend fuel to win
All right,
initiative.
so your initiative. So you can like spend. I think then you get to like, do you spend fuel to move ahead, or do you spend weapon to attack one of us because we're next to each other?
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead, right? So let's spend that to go ahead.
So that's 2 fuel you've already used.
Sure. So I'm going down to 10.
So then, I think it's. Well, I don't know. We just go around. I think. What do you want to do? What would you do in this situation?
Well, I would try to, I guess, knock Ray's truck back. So I would try to shoot it with my weapons.
Sure.
And then see if that kind of like brings.
Yeah, I think he's ahead, so you can aim it in. I think if you've got your weapons are only in the forward arc, I think you can aim it in.
Definitely. And then, like, should I roll? Is that like?
Well, I think I think Ray said like use them as like just codes. So you just turn it down to the next lowest number. So you've used some weapon, and then like I don't know, we don't have like a. I guess that maybe it's just completely. Maybe it's not random at all. Like he shot you, so you have to move armor down.
Okay, yeah. So that goes down to 9. It's right here. Okay, we're at 9. And I don't know, do I draw cargo, or is it like when you get shot at, you drop cargo that can be picked up by people? I don't know. Like,
yeah, you can sacrifice cargo.
I think you can always sacrifice cargo to keep any other thing from going down.
Well, okay, so like if it's a race, you want to get there first, right? But if you're ahead, maybe it's like the weapons only fire in the front or something like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
or in the back, and that way like. And I don't know, you lose resources that they can pick up or something like that. So there's a disadvantage of like being in the front, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
And it
Right.
connects narratively because it's like the supply's coming off, and then if you're in the back, you can collect
So
it
they
off,
got like
right?
harpoons or something. Are we saying
yeah.
like what's the? Okay.
I think for me, I think now is the time to. I think I'll spend a fuel and I'll advance as well. I think that's what makes sense. It's what the fuel is for. So I'm going to move up. I don't know if I don't know. That seems to be the thing. So we're speeding along. Maybe I'm not in
and
front
that
of
is
Ray.
time.
And that is
our
that,
15 minutes.
that is our 15 minutes. Okay, so we kind of have a game here. I think we have the beginnings of a game.
Yep, we have a concept.
So I like to ask, like, what is something that we did here that actually excites you? Like I don't know that we found exactly what this game wants to be yet, but like there's some stuff
Yep.
here. What is exciting you about the stuff that we did in the jam?
I think for me, it's like the idea of like just moving them forward and back, and then having that kind of interplay with like all the different actions that you can take. So like weapons firing only forward, that's pretty cool, because then it's almost like a makeup mechanism, right? It's like, oh, I'm behind, I need to kind of like make up distance, and so the weapons are there as a way to like kind of organize that.
Yeah.
And then it sounds like cargo is going to be that thing that you're going to potentially sacrifice to maintain your position, but at the same time, because it's important, it's like you have to kind of balance that sacrifice.
Yeah.
I like the theming. I think trucks is fun. I like that we use physical objects and we were kind of just jamming and like getting straight into it and being like, okay, well, what does this represent? And just trying to figure it out by like feeling and being tactile with it. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah.
I think that we were getting to like, okay, like what makes it interesting, or what is the gameplay like with thinking about like what like rubber band mechanics there are, right? Like in terms of like, okay, if you're ahead, why wouldn't you just speed ahead or whatever?
Right.
So it was we were figuring things out on the fly.
Well, and that's actually my next. You anticipate my next question, which is like, if we were to continue to develop this game, what's the next thing that we should develop as based on where this got to? What's the next thing that immediately needs development to the most undefined part?
Yeah.
Like I think you were onto it basically
I
with
think
what you said.
I think the way that you interact with the other trucks, right? Like that's like if
Yeah.
we're sort of missing the core, like what's the actual gameplay? Like we kind of have these stats. And it's okay, you're going forward and like you're interacting with the trucks, but what does that actually look like? Are we rolling dice, or are we just putting these stats down? Like what makes it like what's the thing that makes it like fun and click, right? Like that thing, and it's like a competitive game. So how do we like mess with each other? You know, that element I think is missing.
Yeah.
Kind of like the banana peel or like the special skill.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Something that it's like the skill is unique to each like truck, and then so you can like reveal that, and it adds a little bit of complexity and uniqueness to the action.
All right. Well, thank you so much for game jamming with me. Tell the people on the internet where they can find Mythworks and all your games.
Yeah, so you can find us at myth.works, and we're on socials at mythworkshq, except for Blue Sky, which I think we just have Mythworks for Blue Sky.
All right.
Thanks, man.
Thanks.
Thanks, man.
It's awesome.
You can't see me on the camera anymore, but we'll see you at the next one.